Okay, good. Okay. A little shorter backswing, and then you can go ahead and hit a ball or two now. Okay, looking good. That was excellent. Okay. Chipping looked like it'd be easy, but it's not. Get a little bit more weight on your left foot and just hold it there. And just put that ball a little bit further back in your stance, slightly. So move your feet forward. There you go. So you have a little bit more shaft length. The hands are a little bit more in front of the ball. That makes it easier to bump that ground. Let me see a practice swing. And I want to hear the sound of that little heavier bump of the earth. There you go. So that gets you under the ball, so it gets up just a little bit. Okay, I'm first going to look at your putting. On the left is the video I took at the beginning of the putting session, and on the right is toward the end after we had worked on some of the fundamentals. To start with, on the left, you're using a belly putter, which I think is really good. It's always going to be easier to develop the right fundamental stroke when you use either a long putter or a belly putter, because it makes it so much easier to swing your shoulders and your arms properly. One of the things I would work on a little bit more is your posture over the ball. I would probably narrow your stance slightly, and that would require you to choke down. Your hands would slide a little further down the shaft. You probably should be gripping the club maybe about here. And you would have to tilt a little bit more and flex your knees just a little bit more. Let's look at the stroke itself now as you take it back. One of the things I like to do is draw the line from the arms and the shaft, and you can see how it kind of forms this letter Y. And as you go back, you can see how you have maintained that letter Y, which means you did not get wristy, which is really good. You don't want to get wristy, and you have a nice little connected stroke where your arms, your elbows, your forearms, your shoulders are all moving in one piece, and you're not letting it get wristy and floppy at the wrist. The belly putter helps achieve that because it's anchored to your center of your body. So that's another good reason to have a belly putter. Now, as you go forward, again, you keep your Y intact. I like that a lot. So being a new player and just starting out building your foundation of fundamentals, this is an excellent start. I think I just would like you to get a little bit more over the ball so your eyes can get a little bit more, and that you would have a little bit more stability as you move. You want to try to swing the putter and not let your body sway quite as much as it's doing right now, but that'll get better once you have a little bit more individual attention on the fundamentals. On the right, we focused a little bit on not letting your head turn quite so quickly. In fact, you can see there you moved your body a lot less. There was not as much sway. It was more compact. Here you were just a little bit, the stroke was almost too big and too much body movement as you hit through it. And here you're a lot quieter, more upper body. You weren't letting this right leg move it quite as much. Made a big improvement right there as you see that stroke. Okay, now we're going to look at your chipping on the left as at the beginning of the chipping session. and on the right is toward the end after we had talked about some of the fundamentals. I think it's your setup. One of the things that's the biggest and most obvious change you made is that you narrowed your stance a lot more, which is going to give you a lot more control and make it easier to keep your weight on your left side. Some of the fundamentals of chipping is, one, you want to narrow your stance, choke down a little bit on the club, put your weight more on your left foot than your right foot, so you're leaning towards the target, and you put your hands in front of the golf ball. This is what allows you to have a downward strike on the golf ball. You don't want to try to swing up on the ball and try to lift it up. You actually want to do the opposite. You want to swing down and bump the ground right after you've hit the ball. And so it takes a little bit of practice, but setting the setup is so important on the chip. Is get your body positioned just right, because you're setting the golf circle perfectly around that golf ball so that the club will come down that circle and hit it on the downside and bump the ground right after you make contact. So we look at your backswing here, hit it pretty well. Now the changes that we made here, a little smaller, a little bit more controlled swing, narrower stance. See how that ball gets up in the air even though you're swinging down on the golf ball. You're keeping your head still. You can see how your head is still aiming. You're still looking here as opposed to lifting up and looking. You're staying down on the ball much better there. Very good. I know in the for beginning golfers, the goal is to work on that full swing and learn all the fundamentals of a full swing, how to hit a full shot with an iron, how to hit a full shot with a driver. And many times we almost delay work on our little chipping and pitch shots. Every golfer will become a much better golfer if they make sure to include short game training and short game practice from day one, just like they do the full swing. And the better you get at your short game, and the better you get at little chip shots and pitch shots, you'll find that it will accelerate your progress with the full swing. The simple hand-eye coordination of hitting the ball solid with the club face and learning how to do that consistently with small, simple swings will make it easier to then be able to do it with more complicated swings. If you're having difficulty doing it with a full swing, then start having success with the smaller swings first and then go to the full swing. Because keeping the low point in front of the golf ball is a fundamental for both full swing shots and short game shots. So learn that feeling of staying on your left side, hands in front of the golf ball, and hitting down on the ball and the ground after the ball. Learn those fundamentals with the short shots first. One final thought on your fundamentals that you should work on in the early stages of development. The grip is certainly going to be one of them. I did not address your grip during the time that I was with you. It's possible that Jeff did, but certainly developing a good grip and getting your hands around the club properly, both right and left hand, is going to be an important first thing that you develop. The hands are the only thing that's part of you that's in contact with the club, and so a good grip is very important. It's essential to hitting good shots. So one of the first things that you need to learn is the correct grip. Your hands are very close to what you will end up with, but they do need some adjusting and fine tuning so that it's a perfect grip.